NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Ladies and gentlemen, the New York Knicks play their second preseason game tonight versus the Washington Wizards. They're in D.C. right now. I'll be at the game. The game starts at 7 p.m. So as soon as I finish up this pregame show, I'm heading downtown. Check out the Knicks up close and personal, ladies and gentlemen. In the chat, we got Josh, we got Uncle Fulio, and we got No Take Nate in the building. We're going to go ahead and get this thing on and popping, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it going. Andy. Josh, what's going on with you, brother? How you feeling?
Salute everyone out there. Salute the NBK family. Salute the chat. And go Knicks. I'm excited for tonight's game. Definitely, going to see how the Knicks are going to perform on the road. Albeit it's preseason. Still got to see if they continue that consistency from the last game and get a win today. So go Knicks.
Yeah, let's do it. Andy, what's up, man?
What up, Sim? What up to the panel? What up to the chat? As always, happy to be here. Happy to be on the pregame show. I'm probably going to miss the postgame show, but I'm going to watch the game live again. So, gonna catch a power nap after this show to be ready for the game.
Yeah. No Take, what's up, man?
It's Nate the Great. Thank you. I'm doing well. How y'all doing? Ready for this game tonight, man. I'm excited. Like you were saying, Sim, the last show. I really want to see this new Wizards team, man. I want to see how they look like, new coach, new scheme, everything. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. And let's get Steph in the building. Steph is joining us. Oh, let's get her back in the stream. There we go. Get Steph in the building. Let's get there. There we go. Even out the board. Make it look good. Steph, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. Good to see. Wow, look at the panel. Good to see you guys.
Yeah.
In the chat, I'm excited about tonight, particularly seeing Obi more and hopefully seeing Knox.
Exactly.
I know people are down on Knox, but I still want to see him.
Yeah. I really do. I want to see what Knox can do today, since he's definitely going to get some extra playing time. He should get some extra playing time, at least according to Tibbs. That's what Tibbs said the other day, that with Julius Randle being out, Kevin Knox will get some playing time. And I think that's a big discussion to be had. We're going to get into that a little bit and what you want to see. But before we do, let's just take a quick look at the injury report. Okay. Right now for the New York Knicks, Julius Randle is out. And for personal reasons. And it's not anything bad, ladies and gentlemen. So let's not worry about that. Julius Randle is going to be there. He's good. Promise you that. He's good. I think it has to do with, his wife is pregnant. According to the reporter, his wife is very pregnant. That's what she said. His wife is very pregnant, right? So it looks like Julius Randle will be out, and maybe even out for a little while. This is the time for him to do it if he's going to be out. Mitchell Robinson is going to be out with a foot issue, okay? According to this report you see on the screen, Mitchell Robinson is able to do small parts of practice, but not yet do contact work. Right. And Nerlens Noel, I think Nerlens Noel may be healthy enough to play. Now, in my starting lineup, I still have Taj Gibson on the board. Maybe I'll get a chance to change that really quick. But it's going to be either Nerlens Noel or Taj Gibson. These reports, the latest of these reports came out yesterday. We do not have an update for today. So I guess we'll get an update sooner or later. And for the Washington Wizards, Cassius Winston, he's out. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, he's day-to-day. Denny Avdia, he's day-to-day. Rui Hachimura, he's been out. Has yet to report to training camp. This was as of October the 6th. That was just a couple of days ago. And Thomas Bryant is out. He's not likely to return until sometime in December. All right. So, and Thomas Bryant is actually a pretty good center. He's played well for the Washington Wizards when he's healthy and he's been on the floor. Okay. So looking at the lineups, and then we'll get back and talk about, let's just talk about this Julius Randle thing, Obi Toppin, Kevin Knox, and then we'll take a look at the lineups. All right. Just your thoughts off the top of the dome, Josh. I'll come to you. Just off the top. What do your thoughts on it?
So in the preseason, particularly the summer league, I've seen the improvement of Obi's game. He's more confident, and I predicted that Obi Toppin's going to get a little bit more playing time than he did last season. I know Tibbs had a quick hook with him last season, taking him off the floor when he had his defensive lapses. But now that Obi Toppin is coming to his own as an offensive player, I expect to see Obi Toppin out there a lot more. And today is the game where Julius Randle's out, and you're going to see Obi Toppin out there a lot. And even during the season, let's say Julius Randle's playing, Tom Thibodeau is going to give Obi Toppin some time because I like what Obi brings to the table offensively. His game is starting to expand, not just being a guy at the rim who can stuff it, but also his outside game, his ability to dribble, drive, and put the ball on the floor. So Obi Toppin definitely will be out there. And shout out to Julito, who called me delusional for thinking that Obi Toppin was going to get more time. Obi Toppin's going to play. As far as Kevin Knox is concerned, listen, this is Kevin Knox's, pretty much last chance to show anything. But Thibodeau always says, and every good coach always says, you have to be ready. Knock on wood, God forbid, injuries happen during the season or, later on or whatever the case may be. You have to be ready to step up. So even though Kevin Knox is not going to get major time in the rotation, I think this is a showcase for him to show everyone that he could be ready in times when the team will desperately need him. And tonight is what we'll see.
Yeah. Hopefully. Andy, do you think we'll see that from Kevin Knox tonight?
That's a tough question. I still think he's going to be in the third string of players for Tibbs. And even though he's probably going to get a little bit more minutes because of the, lack of an absence of Julius Randle, but I still don't see him getting around 20 minutes even today. So, really? It's going to be hard for him to show off.
Really?
And, going back to the lineup, since they don't have both Bryant and Rui Hachimura today, we don't have, Mitch and Julius, the best probably rebounders on both teams. So, the rebound battle is going to be an interesting one today, as far as the win goes, probably for me.
Yeah, I agree. Why don't you think Kevin Knox will see at least 20 minutes today?
I said that he's not going to see probably 20 minutes.
That's what I'm saying. How come you do not think he's going to see 20 minutes today?
Listen, I think, Netherlands going to be at least a couple of minutes. Taj is going to get also minutes. Obi is going to be probably the power forward, the starting power forward. And I think, that even Grimes is going to get some more burn.
I think so.
I think, all the Tibbs talk, that, Kevin was working this and that way on and stuff like that. It's kind of, for me, I think they're going to just make them, have those minutes so they can, the league can see what he can do. Yeah. And I think he's just trade bait at this point.
But wouldn't he at least get 20 minutes with it being an opportunity to showcase him? Say, hey,
listen, if we're going to be up 20, maybe he's going to get more minutes. Listen, this is Tibbs.
All right. Okay.
If we're not going to be up, nobody's going to get off the bench. So
okay. All right. Nate?
Yeah, I disagree with Andy. Listen, Obi's going to probably start more likely, and he should start. He's been playing very well, and he deserves that opportunity. But I think Knox is going to play the 4 a lot behind Obi. I think that because you talked about Grimes, you talked about Burks, and then of course Fournier starting at 3. I think there's going to be more opportunity for Knox to play at the 4-man position, which is where most Knicks fans want to see him in the future if he does stay with his team, playing behind Obi. And this is a perfect opportunity for Knox to really come out and shine and show what he's got. I'll say this: if Knox does not play 20 minutes in this game behind Obi, they're thinking about trading him at some point. I truly believe, because if you can't even scratch 20 minutes behind Obi, who honestly doesn't even play that many minutes himself, something's wrong. something's not there. There's no faith. There's no hope in that player, and they're just waiting for the right offer to come along to trade him.
Yeah, I mean, I think today, even if he does play 20 minutes behind Obi, it's not going to be because it's not necessarily going to be because they want him. You know, it could be both. It could be, well, let's see what he can do. Let's see if there is a way to get him into the lineup if something happens, right? Because we got people that can go out on injury, but it's also going to be, hey guys, look at Kevin Knox. He still got something. You know, that's also going to be part of it. There's no doubt about it. I'm hoping that he can come out and improve and show something, you know, and give Tom Thibodeau some kind of indication that he can play for Tom Thibodeau. I don't know. Steph, what do you think?
The same. If Knox can't get 20 minutes tonight with Randle out at that 4 position, I mean, I think that's telling us, I mean, all the little bit of hope I have of seeing him, it's a wrap if he can't get that. But, you know, to Josh's point about Obi getting more time, you know, we talked about this the other day. Where? Yeah. I mean, they're not going to play him at center. I don't know if they're going to play him at small forward. In order for him to get 20 minutes backing up Randle, that means Randle only gets 28. You think Randle's going to get 28 minutes? So I agree that Obi is looking good. His offense looks great. If Randle ever gets into foul trouble or misses a game, he'll definitely get more time. I don't see him getting more than 15 minutes. Even to get 18 minutes, that means your best player is playing 30.
Yeah. Right. It's very hard. It's very hard, I think, for Obi to carve out minutes because he's really not able to play the 3 spot, and Tom Thibodeau doesn't like having Obi and Randle together at the 4 and the 5. So it makes it very, very hard for Obi to carve out minutes unless things just work better with him on the floor rather than Randle. I don't know where it comes from.
But do you think?
Well, I was just going to say to respond to Steph, I don't think it necessarily has to be Randle, you know, playing that drastic, you know, less minutes. But I do think that Tom Thibodeau is not going to play Julius Randle the same amount of minutes he played last year. We've seen towards the end of the season and playoff time, Julius Randle was completely burned out.
Amen.
And with the Knicks improved scoring options that they have on the floor, they won't necessarily need to play Julius Randle as many minutes.
They should.
He's not going to get 30 though. He's not going to get 30 minutes.
Right. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying in regards to the splits, like, you know, taking one out for the other. But I do think that Julius Randle is not going to play the same amount of minutes he played last year.
I agree.
And that is an opportunity for Obi to get on the floor a little bit more and showcase a little bit more. And perhaps we'll see. We'll see.
But
I definitely think Obi's going to get more time.
2 minutes.
Right. There's 48 minutes.
Think about it. It's 48 minutes at that position.
And they're basically sharing that position because neither one of them can really go outside of that position. They're basically sharing the minutes in that position. Right. Andy, then I'm gonna come to Nate.
Yeah, listen, for me, I think Tibbs is still going to be playing both of them on the court, moving Randle to the 5, going with a small ball lineup. But, you know, even without that, my question is, let's imagine Tibbs trying to manage minutes. He can go 2 ways. You think he's going to, for example, even not this position, even Kemba and D-Rose, right? You guys think that he's going to manage the minutes like 28 and 20, or he's just going to go with, you know, a full game sit out for one of them? Because if that's going to be the case, then, you know, for example, Quickly and Burks are going to be moved to the 1. And then, you know, the 3 position is going to be, you know, a couple of minutes there are going to be open. So, you know, looking at that kind of a tactic, if Tibbs, you know, has that, you know, minute management on his mind, I see him using more of a totally off day for a player than just making him warm up, go through all the, you know, warm up drills and stuff like that, and then play him just 15 minutes, for example. Because if the guys are going to warm up, he's not going to be holding them back. That's for sure, as far as I see it. So I think, you know, we might see D-Rose having a day off, like every, I don't know, even if he's healthy, like 1 game out of 10, 1 game out of 15 maybe, right? If they're going to have a back-to-back or something like that. Kemba can be the same thing. And if, you know, if the point guards are out, no, Quickly's going to have to take minutes, or Burke's going to have to take minutes on the backup point guard duties. and then there's going to be more minutes on the wing. That's why I think Obi can get a little bit more of those minutes.
Okay.
But you're saying if he plays the 3, you think Obi can play the 3 position? Because everything you're talking about, that's you're talking about the wings. That I don't know if that affects Obi. I don't see Obi playing the 3.
Yeah, I think Tibbs is gonna have, if he's gonna be sitting a guy out even from the guards, I think he's gotta he's gonna shorten the rotation to 9 guys. He's not gonna expand it more when he sits a guy. So having a 9-man rotation, he's gonna have to use Julius with Obi at the court at the same time.
But
I'm not saying even the 3.
But what I'm saying is, if he takes somebody out of the rotation, it bodes well for another player to get more minutes if he keeps it at 10. But if somebody is out and he shortens the rotation, I don't even think adjustment needs to be made. There's one less person in the game.
Yeah, I just don't know if Obi can defend that 3 spot. I think he can play it on the offensive side, right? Because you can just play him and let him do what he does naturally. Can he defend the 3? I guess it's going to depend on who you're playing against and what their 3-man is like. If they have a 3-man who's not really athletic, kind of a 3-and-D type of guy, maybe Obi can play that guy. But one thing you did say, Andy, that kind of sticks out to me is if you're not going to warm up a guy like Derrick Rose or even a Julius Randle and say, okay, but you're only going to play 15 minutes tonight. They're going to warm up and they're going to play their normal minutes. If they're going to sit out, they're going to sit out. And maybe you do see some of Julius Randle being able to take off more games this season. And then that's where Obi can step in and Kevin Knox can even step in.
Right.
If he takes off a couple more games this season, because he can do it this season, was not able to do it last season at all. He missed 1 game, and Obi didn't even start that game. I think it was Taj Gibson who started that game. But
Sim, I don't think Randall's going to be on that list with minutes management.
He might not. He might
it's
not.
going to be like Kevin D. Rose. Nobody else.
He might not.
Maybe Taj.
Right. Maybe Taj. Yeah. Go ahead, Take. I was about to say Take. Go ahead, no Take.
Oh my God, that's gotta change. I don't even know where that came from. But
he put it there. I didn't even see his name. They changed his name.
Anyways, I think that the thing is, when we look at what Tibbs did in the past to what he's gonna have to do this season is 2 different things. Because Tibbs in the past has always been shortened rotation, play your best players, long minutes. Don't expand the rotation. Keep it short. And I think that you can't do that this season with this team. There's too much talent. I mean, we talked about how much depth this team has from the top to the bottom. There's so much talent on this team that Tibbs cannot box in himself and say, okay, I'm only going to go a 9-10 man rotation. You can't do that. You have to have more flexibility because this is the deepest team that he's had in years. And there's so much talent that, you don't want to overrun your players like Josh was saying. Like, I do agree. One thing we didn't talk about with Julius Randle outside of the scheme against him in the playoffs, he looked a little worn down. And it's expected. He played almost 40 minutes a game, every game all season. You bring in a guy like Obi because you want Obi to be able to spell some of those minutes for Julius Randle when he goes to the bench. And so it's going to be interesting this season what Tibbs' philosophy is going to be. Is he going to stick to his guns, or is he going to have to change? Because this is a different team than any other team he's had before. There's depth, there's talent, there's a really good player on this team, and he didn't have those in the past all the time. And so he's going to have to change. He's going to have to adapt, and it's going to be interesting to see how this all works out as far as the rotations, the minutes, and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Josh, I'll come right over to you. I kind of disagree. I think he's going to stick with a 10-man rotation, and the best 10 players are going to be in that 10-man rotation. The other guys are going to continue to be situational. I just don't think you can really build good chemistry with your teams by playing 12 players. It's too many. It's too many, in my opinion. And, those guys get in when they fit in, where they fit in. Maybe, the last minute of a half or something like that, or the last minute of a quarter, you can throw somebody in, hey, we need you to try to get a 3 off right quick or something like that. But I just don't think you can legitimately give 12 players enough playing time without ruining the chemistry. You know what I mean?
But my argument would be to you is it's a long season. Injuries will happen on this team. You want those players in those roles, so if something does happen, they're not deer in a headlight situation.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the players that you're gonna have to throw in there are unexperienced players, and they need to get a little more burn so they know what's gonna happen if situations are to happen.
I get that. I think they'll get their chances, in blowout situations and. Things like that.
We need to blow out teams. We didn't blow out teams last year.
Josh, then I'll come down to Andy. And then after Andy, I want to look at the lineups real quick.
Yeah, real quick. I mean, so what I was saying about the minutes had nothing to do with the amount of people in the rotation. I still think it'll be a 10-man rotation. I don't think it's going to be anything bigger than that. But what I really want to highlight and what I think Tibbs should do to prepare ourselves, if we're going to make any type of playoff run or set ourselves up for seeding and being a good position to win a playoff series, is limiting the minutes while you have an opportunity to during the course of the season. Now, come later in the season, things are going to kind of slow down a little bit. You're going to have Randle on the floor for the most part. You know what I'm saying? But during the course of the season, like we've seen teams like the Clippers, like, a lot of those teams out in the Western Conference, they go 10-man rotations, and their top guys don't play, the amount of minutes that Julius Randle plays. You know what I'm saying? They're going to play that 33, 34 minutes, or maybe even 30 minutes sometimes. And a lot of their bench guys are going to get a lot of time out there. The Clippers were known to be really, really deep the past couple of years. And come to playoff time, the rotation tends to get a little bit shorter, and all the main guys are going to be out there for 35, 37, 38 minutes a night. So that's a tactic that I think Tibbs should employ if this team wants to take that next step and win a playoff series, because last year in the playoffs, Julius Randle was very, very tired. And now that we have all these scoring options, I think personally it's best to keep a 10-man rotation, but use a lot of the bench guys to take some of those minutes, particularly if they're going to score points and be productive. Like, why not? Why not use them? Why not use
back-to-backs too would be a great opportunity to rest some of those the older players, and let some of the young players play more.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what I think he should do, but I don't know if it's going to happen, but that's what I think he should do.
I think we playing to win. I mean, if there's an opportunity in a blowout, fine. But I'm not limiting minutes just to limit minutes to save somebody for the end of the season that may not even be if this person is not in the game. So we got to play it by ear, night by night. If we're up and we can get Obi more minutes, definitely do that. But just to come out and say we're going to try to play Randle just 32 minutes, the Eastern Conference is tough. It's going to be a dogfight every single night. So I think we got to play to win. I think, if it's a blowout, definitely give extra minutes. But other than that, obviously we don't want to be playing Randle 40 minutes. I don't think we have to this year. But 30, 32.
Right.
Well, how can we call ourselves the best bench in the NBA if we don't utilize it?
Right.
But we utilize
we are going to utilize it, but not at the expense of your bench.
And you're only as good as your depth. Honestly, all the good teams have good depth.
But we're going to utilize the bench. We're going to utilize the bench. We're going to have guys on the bench getting 30 minutes. It just might not be Obi. Andy, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna, try to define the rotation players, because you guys always talking about 10 people. I think 10 people is going to be the rotation if everyone is healthy.
Right.
If a player is going to go out, I think he's not going to stick with 10 people. It's going to be like 9.
He can't.
If it's going to be for a game 2 or 3, I think, and that one guy that's going to be in that rotation is going to be like really less than 5 minutes. It's going to be just a plug.
Okay.
For those games.
See, I think
at least.
Sorry to cut you off. I think like last year, a lot of times, if somebody went out, he might let a Frank or depending on who went out or Knox get a couple of minutes. Get a few minutes, or depending on what he needed. If he needed some defense, if he needed some shooting, he might plug them guys in. And I agree, like you said, 5-10 minutes most. Just to help out that rotation a little bit, but it wasn't anything, that was like, okay, this guy's legitimately getting 25 minutes in this rotation. I definitely agree with you there. Big shout out to Big Freezy in the chat. Thank you for the super chat, man. Salute to you, blowing tears out there. We appreciate you, my man. Taking a look at the starting lineups for the Knicks tonight. Of course, Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, R.J. Barrett, Obi Toppin, and either Nerlens Noel or Taj Gibson at the center spot. And for the Washington Wizards, Spencer Dinwiddie at the point guard spot. I'm interested to see what that looks like between him and Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal at the shooting guard spot, Corey Kispert, Kyle Kuzma, and Daniel Gafford at the center spot. I'm not exactly sure how everything is working with Bradley Beal. I have him up here. I don't know. He played against Houston. Maybe they were in Houston, so we'll see what's going on with Bradley Beal. But I'm really interested to see what Spencer Dinwiddie looks like coming off that ACL injury. And Corey Kispert, man, I don't remember who it is, but somebody got Corey Kispert in our fantasy league really deep in the draft, and now he might be the starting small forward for the Washington Wizards. So somebody picked out a really good player. I hope it wasn't Legion and Knicks, because he's in the chat and he'll think he's a genius or something.
He's like a Kyle Korver type.
He'll think he's a genius or something like that. I want to ask you, looking at the lineups, with Julius Randle being out, who steps up? Oh, I don't know if you want to say step up. When I looked at the offense the other day, it was kind of, it was by committee. Guys, we were scoring by committee. There was no, we got to get it to Randle like last season. It wasn't no, we got to get it to Randle and then he's going to create for everybody. It really was, whoever had the open shot is going to take the open shot. But who do you think maybe steps up as the leading scorer now? Is it RJ?
Yes.
Go ahead, no tape. You said yes?
Yeah.
Tell me why.
Yeah. Honestly, in my opinion, it has to be RJ because, when your best player goes down, the next best player is RJ. And you need him at his age. He's 21 years old. We talk about Obi relishing in opportunities when the other guy's down. This is a great opportunity for RJ. RJ to come out and put some points on the board. And, and one thing about RJ, he's not going to force a shot. That's never been the type of dude he is. But he could be more aggressive. He could get to the basket and actually finish. Keyword finish. Sorry, I really get annoyed by his game at the rim. But finish at the basket, get to the free throw line, take good shots, play good defense. It's got to be RJ.
Said it's got to be RJ, but will it be RJ?
I hope it is.
You're saying it has to be RJ. Like, this is what we need him to do. Realistically speaking, will it be RJ? I'm not saying it won't be. I'm just asking the question.
I hope it is.
Sam.
Yeah.
RJ's not even our second best player right now. Now, at the end of the season, he may prove to be. But just because you were the second leading scorer last year, everybody put some respect on Fournier. Put some respect on Kemba. Now, if you want to say Kemba is not going to get enough minutes to prove to be our second leading scorer or our second best player, that's fine if you want to do that. But remember, you can even argue last year that Rose was our second best player. You can argue that. Right now, I think our second best player will prove to be anywhere between Kemba, Fournier. Now, he can become that by the end of the season. But going in, I don't look at this roster and see RJ as the second best player on this team. And he was our second best player by default last year because we didn't have nobody else, in my opinion.
Well, that's true. We didn't have anybody else.
But we had to add those players. RJ's been in the system since Randle got here. So that would be, you're automatically going to say a player that we just picked up in free agency is our second best player.
It happens to every team in the league.
It happens all the time.
If we pick up Kawhi Leonard, he's not going to be our best player.
Right.
Even if Randle's been playing in the system, if Kawhi comes in, he's our best player.
I get it, but I don't think Fournier is better than RJ.
Oh my God!
I think he's a better scorer than RJ right now. I think he's a better scorer.
I agree. Overall player, RJ's better.
But what we're talking about right now is the scoring effort with Julius Randle being out. Right? So who steps up and takes over that scoring effort? Is it Fournier?
I think RJ can do it too.
Well,
he averaged 18 points last year.
Okay.
I'm not saying he can't. He could.
He did average 18 points last year. How much of that was his own shot creation? And some of it comes down to that. But listen, RJ had 17 points. He had 14 shot attempts the last game, tied with Julius Randle for the most on the team. 17 points, was second to Julius Randle in points. I think Julius Randle had 20 in the last game. So I'm not saying it's not. It very well could be. But, the offense obviously is going to change slightly without having Julius Randle in the game. And I'm interested to see what that looks like. Josh, it looks like you were about to say something.
Yeah, so to answer the question, I think it'll be more just by committee. I think in these preseason games and pretty much for the bulk of the season, like, the meat of the season, Knicks are going to run their offense. They're going to move the ball around. I think when it comes to close games and towards the end of the season, that's when we'll kind of figure out who's going to be number one and number two. But the way the Knicks played the last game, that was beautiful basketball to watch. The ball was just moving, flying across. Early in the shot clock, the shots were up. They were decisive. And I think it's going to be more the same tonight. And during the course of the season, if guys get hurt, or what have you, you can plug and play guys and they can still run that same kind of offense. Towards the end of the season, though, I think missing a player like Randle would hurt more. And then you would have to look at an RJ maybe to step up and take that role or take more of the brunt of the shots or Evan Fournier or what have you. But as of right now, I think it's just more by committee. And as the season goes on, we'll see who steps into that role. And I do want to comment real quick because I know you guys were talking about it on the last show. And you said the previous game you didn't see a number one option. I think when the games get close and down to the wire, there's no question the ball will be in Julius Randle's hands. No question. He is the player on this team. And I get it. And it's not selfish basketball, Andy. It's not, just because you give it to a guy who's your best player, that it's all about him. That is a team game. But at the same time, in close games and come playoff time, you need the ball in Julius Randle's hands. There's no question about that. But to answer your question, for right now, I think it's going to be by committee.
Okay. All right. Looking forward to it. Andy, go ahead.
Josh, I don't know why you're jabbing at me because I didn't say nothing like that.
You did?
No, I didn't. But listen,
Okay.
I think, I agree with Josh. It's going to be like by committee, but it's going to be mostly probably Kemba and Fournier getting that, scoring, up instead of Julius. But there's one guy on the bench that, when he heard that Julius is going to be out for no serious reason, was like doing probably like this and was tying his shoes ready to go on the court, and that would be Emmanuel Quickly. He's going to take more than 10 shots this game, even more. I could bet you guys maybe even 15. He's going to be trigger happy tonight.
I hope he takes them near the three-point line and not 30 feet away.
Right.
I agree. I think Emmanuel Quickly, look, Derrick Rose talked about it the other day, how Emmanuel Quickly is, that rebel type of a player. He's not going to do every single thing that Tom Thibodeau says to do. He's going to do it his way. And he looks at these things as opportunities. But I'm going to tell you what, Tom Thibodeau allows him to do it because Tom Thibodeau really does like Emmanuel Quickly. When he starts to talk about Emmanuel Quickly, he gets the biggest smile you'll ever see from Tom Thibodeau when he starts to speak about him. He really does like that kid. So, he's giving him a lot of leadway. Now, it's going to be interesting to see.
If he struggles?
Listen, Tom, how long did he let Obi play when he was struggling last year? He let him play the entire season. How long did he let Elfrid Payton play?
Yeah, but he gave him limited minutes. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, he did, but he kept throwing him out there.
Oh, yeah, he's going to keep him out there. I'm just saying, but is he going to be seeing as many minutes if he's struggling shooting the ball? That's my question.
Well, I think a guy like Quickly, he can go 4 or 5 games and not shoot the ball, and then all of a sudden he breaks out and has 35. I think that's kind of how he plays. I want to switch over to Washington just a little bit. How do you think Spencer Dinwiddie, and I believe Bradley Beal is going to play? I think, although he's not vaccinated, I think he can still play. How do you think this is going to look? They played one game. I don't know what the numbers were, what their individual numbers were in the first game against Houston, right? But I believe that if Spencer Dinwiddie is really healthy and can play, and normally it takes a little while. What do they say? A year for you to really recover from having an ACL. But if he's healthy, he can make this team a little bit more dangerous, in my opinion. I really do believe so. He might fit better next to Bradley Beal than, I don't even want to say does, than Russell Westbrook did. In the previous game, Spencer Dinwiddie had 14 points, 5 assists, He was 50% from the field. He was 2 for 5 from the three-point line. He played 21 minutes. Bradley Beal had 18 points, 3 assists. He played 21 minutes. He was 6 for 12 from the field and 1 for 3 from the three-point line. And Kyle Kuzma, we'll talk about him in a minute, but I want to go ahead and get to that. Go ahead, Nate. I see you got your hand raised.
Yeah, I'll even go a step farther. I think Dimwit is probably a better match than Wall was with Beal because he's going to give him that threat of scoring, which Wall really didn't do. I mean, Wall at times can score the basket, but he's not the scorer that Dimwit is, in my opinion.
Dinwiddie.
I mean,
Dinwiddie.
No, I call him Dimwit because he trolls the Knicks all the time. Sorry, but he can score the ball. He can shoot the three. He can hit the mid range. I mean, he's a better scorer than Wall and Russell Westbrook, in my opinion. And so I think he's going to be the threat that they've been wanting to pair with Bradley Beal.
You think he's a better scorer than Russell Westbrook?
Yeah, I mean, because we're talking about we're talking about like
efficient.
shooting percentage. We're talking shooting percentage. We're talking 3-point percentage. I mean, compared to Russell and Wall, I mean, pull up the stats. I mean, I'm sure his numbers are almost as bad as good as his.
Well, I mean, Wall hasn't played a full season in I don't know how long.
Right, I'm talking about the Wall in the past, man. I'm talking about the Wall in the past. I'm not talking about the Wall.
I think you have a better argument with the injured Wall than you do with the Wall from the past.
The Wall from the past was a beast. The Wall that was not injured was a beast.
But he could not score from the perimeter is my argument. Dinwiddie can score better from the perimeter than Wall.
Nate, how do you think John Wall got a $40 million a year contract? How do you think he got that money?
I mean, it wasn't off his jump shot.
You're making that.
It wasn't off his jump shot. I mean, Wall could get to the basket because of his speed, man. He was a quick point guard. He was great in fast break and transition. But look at his stats shooting the ball. Look at his
stats. Early on, you could say that about his shooting, but his shooting got much better, and that's what made him more dangerous because then he was able to shoot the shot, and if you had to come out on him, his quickness was able to get him to the lane. We're not talking about the first year or two of John Wall. We talk about as his game developed. John Wall was one of the best players in this league. Dinwiddie ain't even close.
Yeah, John Wall from a shooting standpoint. But Nate,
I know.
But Nate, John Wall developed a mid-range jump shot before he really suffered his injuries. He developed a mid-range jump shot, and his
Dinwiddie
speed.
Can shoot the mid-range and he can shoot the three.
Okay,
John Wall wasn't even a 3-point shooter.
But listen,
still not a 3-point shooter.
But listen, But his speed allowed that mid-range jump shot to be, for the most part, unstoppable because he was so fast. Boom, 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 boom. 2-dribble pull up, and you're flying the other way. He's up in the air. He developed that shot, and then his speed. I mean, there was no way, in my opinion, I could sit here and say that Spencer Dinwiddie was a better scorer than John Wall.
Well, maybe scorer is the wrong word. Maybe probably better shooter. There.
Okay, maybe a better shooter from the perimeter, but not a better scorer.
Okay, fine. Better shooter.
Yeah. Josh,
and not a better scorer than Westbrook either.
Not that either. Come on, no take. You got to prove me wrong, bro. You got to prove me wrong. Josh, you was about to say something?
Oh, I was about to say, I'm glad it's not me this time. Go ahead, Steph.
Yeah, I'm interested. You know, a lot of people, I'm really interested in this Wizards team, man, because I feel like they could be a sleeper. I really do. Spencer Dinwiddie, Bradley Beal, Kyle Kuzma, I think can really have a breakout year this season. He had 11 points last game, 6 rebounds. He was 3 for 10 from the field. He was 3 for 8 from the 3-point line. But I think he can have a breakout season. I really do. And I don't know. They could sneak up and surprise some people.
This team could be scary good.
Yeah, they can sneak up. And when they start, they get Rui Hachimura back, who'll be starting at the power forward spot. And I guess Kyle Kuzma would, I don't know, however that'll work. He's going to be in the starting lineup. But Rui Hachimura, they get Thomas Bryant back. He's big for them at the center spot. You know what I mean? So now then they get a little bit deeper. I feel like their continuity can be a little bit better with this squad here. And, I'm not sleeping on the Washington Wizards.
They should be better defensively too, because they were terrible last year. So there's
Yeah,
only one way to
they
go
were
up.
bad.
Yeah.
They were bad defensively last year. They were real bad. Shout out to Kareem. He said it's all types of barbecue chicken on the menu this season. We will have a top 3 bench in the league this season. Yes, I think we will be back to being mob deep.
So too.
Mob deep for sure. Corey Kispert too, man. He had in the previous game, he had 12 points. He was 5 for 9 from the field. He was 2 for 6 from the 3-point line. 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. You know, like I said, I'm just watching out for this team. You know,
It's the chemistry. If they get that chemistry together, they're going to be really, really good.
yeah. They I think they could be really good. You know, one thing I want to say, and this is kind of off topic. I'm just saying it because, you know, I'm looking at a picture of them right now. The Wizards played the Rockets in their first preseason game. I kind of regret that the Knicks didn't go after Kevin Porter Jr. last year. I do.
That gun thing was a big issue.
I know, but I felt like all last season, even in the preseason, when we were talking about getting players, and I'm not saying I said, hey, go out and get this guy, but all last season, I was saying, I feel like we have the leadership to take chances. Right? We have the leadership to take some chances on some talented guys that maybe have some character issues or something like that. And we didn't do it. He's one of the guys that, I mean, he might end up being a star in this league. You know what I mean? And we could have got him for some 2nd-round picks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, I don't know why I regret it. It's not like I made the decision, but I regret that the Knicks didn't, you know, take a chance on that kid last year when Cleveland was trying to give him away. You know, because I feel like we got the leadership now, and that means a lot with Tom Thibodeau, with Leon Rose and them guys, and then you got Derrick Rose and the guys in the locker room, Taj Gibson. This year you're bringing in a Kemba and a Evan Fournier that, you know, just bring that veteran leadership, Julius Randle. I think, you know, it might have been able to work. If you brought him in, you might not have been bringing in Evan Fournier this year. I don't know. But I kind of...
It's more about the culture, Sim. I think that they want to,
I get it.
you know, look at the players that they've drafted, very strong character people, not me first guys. You know, not saying Kevin Porter's that type of dude. I mean, he obviously had that incident with the gun. And I agree with you. I think that a strong team should take moves like that if it can improve their team in the future and right now, currently. And, you know, but it is what it is.
Yeah, nah, I get it. But, you know, we've been talking the last few days about the Knicks need a bad boy. Yeah. You know, he could have been one of those, you know, he has that kind of character, that, you know, that kind of thing, you know. But I get it. Leon Rose and them guys, they want good character players. And I understand that as well. I do though think that he would have been good for this team. I think he would have been good.
Yeah.
A couple of things to watch for today, at least some things that I'm watching for. One, how Obi fares with the starters. I think we talked about that. Who steps up as the primary scorer? Can Kevin Knox make his case and prove to everyone that he deserves to be out there on the floor? The 3-point shooting, the Knicks shot 29% from the field the last game.
Wow.
I think they were 11 for 37. Right? If we're going to be shooting a high number of 3-point shots, we've got to be making them better than 29%. Right? And then team rebounding, I think Tom Thibodeau wasn't happy with the offensive rebounding. I want to see this team really do some gang rebounding and go out there and crash those offensive boards, pull down some defensive boards. You know, so these are some things that I'm really watching for in this game. You know, strategy-wise, I'm not worried about strategy against any team right now in the preseason. It's all about what the Knicks do to get better. Andy, I see you had something to say.
Yeah, because, you know, and I'm with you guys, assuming that Obi's going to start. But what if Tibbs rolls out Netherlands Noel at the 5 and Taj at the 4?
Oh, boy.
Bro,
To keep that second unit intact, he might.
You might. You never
Yeah.
know.
I didn't want to say it loud because now it's going to be on me, but
Listen,
listen, it might happen.
when he was talking yesterday or whenever it was, he didn't commit. He just said Obi and Knox will get more playing time. He didn't say anything about who would start.
Yeah, he did.
You know, I'm just assuming that Obi is going to be starting. You never know. You mess around and, hey, yeah, we'll see. Okay, let me ask you this, Josh. Is Nerlens Noel going to shoot a 3 today?
I hope not. I hope not. Listen, I mean, if he does, then it's fine. But I think, listen, the way the Knicks play basketball during the last game, the way the ball was moving, I'm fine with that style of offense, running those plays, moving without the basketball. I'm fine with that. As long as the Knicks knock down more shots, I don't have any problem with Knicks shooting more threes and playing that style of basketball. It doesn't have to be 5 out for the Knicks to get more 3-point shots.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll see. Taj Gibson shot 2 of them in the previous game. Shot 2 of them. He made 1 and he missed 1. And he didn't hesitate either. He didn't hesitate to pull it. He caught it. He let it go.
Yeah, but Taj has always been a decent 3-point shooter, even in his days in Chicago. Taj would shoot 3-pointers. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he wouldn't be shot away from doing that.
I know. I'm just looking at the speed at which he shot it. To me, says they told the centers to shoot those threes from the corner because he didn't hesitate. He didn't think about it. He just caught it and let it go. Like he was.
You ain't see Jericho Sims shoot any?
He wasn't in that position, but we seen him shoot it in summer league.
I just hope he hits the rim. That's all I hope.
We seen him. We seen him do it in summer league. Let me get to this phone call. Caller, you live. Tell me your name and where you're from. Hello, you're live, brother. How you feeling? Tell me your name, where you're from.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Elk from Chicago.
All right. How you doing, man? You said what you say your name was?
Elk, like the deer. Elk from
okay.
Chicago.
What's going on, Elk? How you feeling?
I'm good, man. I was calling in because I wanted to give a quick take on the team this year.
Okay. All right.
Well, last year I called in and I said, I'm a big Rose fan. Let me start by saying I'm a homer because I'm from Chicago. But,
I remember.
I know he's going to produce. He did his thing. Y'all see what he did last year when he came to the team, along with Thibodeau. I tried to give a quick insight on Tibbs and his coaching style.
Yeah.
And I tried to say he was a machine and, it's his way or the highway. And people just got to roll with that. If you roll with it, you'll understand where he's coming from.
Yeah.
That being said, the team, the pickups y'all got is definitely a championship team. I said last year prematurely, strictly because of Rose, and I thought that piece with Randle would take you guys over the top. But first, I want to say, do y'all Knicks fans want to win a champ, or do y'all consider yourself just a situation, an organization trying to build? I mean, y'all haven't won since 1973. I was born in 75. Being from Chicago, I went to jail twice during the Bulls championship. I want you guys to get a championship, and the window is here for you guys to take advantage of that with the pieces you got. Back to the starting lineup. Like I said, I love the additions you guys got. Randle needs to step up this year. He's not the number one. You guys picked up Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier. Let the offense run through Fournier. Hopefully Mitchell comes back and solidifies that center spot. And then you got R.J. Barrett, which should have a decent effect on that 5. I really think he should be with that second unit, my opinion. But to the second unit real quick, you got Rose, you got Quickly, you got Toppin. Who am I missing? Taj. I mean, that's going to throw the juice back in the game if the starting lineup slacks off. So, and then you guys got Cat in the woodworks, I heard. You go get that man, no matter what. I don't care who you got to trade. You trade the whole team to get that star. You get Cat, that's a double nail for a championship.
Okay. All right.
Sorry about being so hyped, man, but I just want y'all to win, man.
Hey,
it's like
I appreciate,
y'all there,
appreciate
and,
it, bro.
you just don't respect you guys' will to win, I don't think. It's like you've been sucking so long, it's there for you guys to take it if you just believe. And I think this year is going to be a special year for you guys.
I hope so, man.
Stephanie, I know your name now. I said the lady in the panel back in the day, but you're real insightful, sister, and you keep up the good work. Everybody on the panel, peace out.
Peace, Elk. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the energy too. I like that.
Yeah, definitely.
People who
Elk
aren't even
Wall Street.
fans of the New York Knicks say, we looking like a championship squad. Let's see.
The NBA is only good as New York is good.
Let's see. Kareem, what's popping with you, brother? How you feeling?
Hey, what's up, Sam? How's it going?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you?
I can't complain, man. I'm all right.
Come on, Kareem. Pick it up.
Man, well, all right. So I wanted to pick up. First of all this. Sleep on the Wizards. They finna be sleeping at the bottom of the Eastern Conference.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Man,
I don't know.
Man, please. Who they? What they? You know what's so crazy about this season, Sim? Yeah, I will say a lot of these teams in the Eastern Conference got better, right? Mm-hmm. But they don't have a bench.
That's true.
There's so many teams that don't have benches.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Nah, I agree with you. But I'm just not sleeping on the Wizards. They made a crazy run last year, right? Towards the end of the season. Took them a while to get that chemistry down. I just feel like they're going to be a lot better this year. Part of it is because teams are sleeping on them and saying, they're not going to be anything. And, they might come in and surprise some people. And then next year, they're not going to be a surprise. But I'm just saying, don't sleep on them. I think this team could be good.
Well, Sam, real quick, you know what they should do? Now, when you look at Spencer Dinwiddie, right?
Uh-huh.
He is a pick and roll point guard. They need a 4 and a 5 that can set screens for him. So hopefully they worked on that during, the off season and training camp.
Right. Well, Thomas Bryant is out. Thomas Bryant is out, but I think he's a guy he's a good screen setter. Mm-hmm. Big guy. They won't get him back until December. So, they got to wait a little while for that.
Yeah. But I do agree with you. They'll do better, man. Definitely, man. But I think with our team, man, our bench, we got a deep bench, man.
Yeah.
Of a very deep bench, and I kind of heard like a few people, just watching shows and stuff like that, they were saying that we kind of have too much. So, going back to what you guys are talking about with the rotation, we see why coaches like an 8-man rotation, you keep the chemistry. But, we have players like Rose and Kemba where we don't want to run them through the hole. So I agree with that. So, there might be 2 additional players that see some, maybe 10 to 15 minutes a game, and that'd definitely be good, I really don't want to run Rose through the ground like we did last year. He was burnt out when we got to that Atlanta series. Yeah. He was still producing, but still.
Yeah, but it was a struggle for him to produce. He was producing, but it was a struggle for him.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, definitely, man. But yeah, I think we're gonna, there's all types of barbecue chicken, sweet, hickory.
Spicy, I want hickory on my barbecue. I want hickory on my barbecue with a nice Hawaiian bun or something.
You'll make me hungry.
Oh yeah, I saw those at BJ's, man. I gotta walk past that at BJ's. I want to buy everything in there. I saw they had 3 of them in the pack. I'm like, I can't do it, man. I gotta stick to my diet that I've never been on. Yeah, man.
Kareem, you remember, start the diet on Monday, bro. Every Monday.
Right. Exactly. Every Monday.
I'm going to get my life together this week, and it never happened. A new snack come out or something like that, and it's
it's a wrap. Yeah.
Real quick, Sim, before I go, man, I got a comment on this dude, man. Man, Barrett's shot looking good, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's looking a lot more pure, man. I'm excited to see what he's gonna do this season, man.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I can't wait, man. And I'm looking forward tonight to see, see how he looks out there without Julius Randle.
Yeah. And real quick, too, I saw y'all had in the chat talking about Frank and getting the opportunity. Man, stop it. Man, 6 points a game. Stop. He's not getting no burn this season. Stop.
I didn't even get a conversation.
I don't even know. Somehow we still talking, bro. We still talking about Frank. We still talking about Elfrid Payton. I don't know how.
But you did you see it in the MBK chat? You would have thought he scored 50 points or something like that. Yeah, man. He gonna get his but he's gonna be on a bench getting towels like he was doing on the Knicks, rubbing feet.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, Kareem, man, I appreciate you, man.
All right, appreciate you having me, Sim.
Peace.
Shout out to the chat
Peace, bro.
panel.
I appreciate you.
No doubt. Somehow, man, Frank, Elf, these guys stay. I was looking in the chat, and Elk, when he called up, someone was, "Oh, that's too close to Elf. Hang up on him." I seen it in the chat. People crazy.
What happened? What happened to Elf, man? Ever since we let his boy go, I haven't heard anything back from him.
People crazy, man. I don't know. Looking at numbers from the previous games, the Knicks, we know they scored 125 points. The Wizards scored 119. The Wizards didn't shoot well from the field, just like the Knicks didn't. They shot 43.8% from the field and 31% from three. The Knicks shot 46.5% from the field and 29.7% from three. Wizards had 45 rebounds. We had 49. And these are the previous games, ladies and gentlemen, not against each other, just the previous games. 19 assists for the Wizards, 26 assists for the Knicks, 7 steals for the Wizards, 6 for the Knicks, 4 blocks for the Wizards, 3 blocks for the Knicks. That'll probably change tonight if Nerlens Noel is playing. 10 turnovers for the Wizards, only 3 turnovers for the Knicks. 26 assists and 3 turnovers in the previous game. That assist to turnover ratio is amazing. Can we do that again? We'll find out. But, 26 assists, 3 turnovers, that's how you want to play basketball. But one thing that lets you know is that we have ball handlers on the team and we're playing smart basketball. We're taking care of the ball. We're just making smart passes. Not even say we're not taking chances. We're just making smart passes. Knowing when to pass the ball and who to pass the ball to and why. And then your passes are accurate. That's just good basketball IQ.
Yeah.
Just good basketball IQ. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this team can do. And I think tonight, it's a good challenge for them because the Wizards are a team that's going to be able to score. So let's see what the defense can do. Can the defense come out and lock up that starting lineup of the Wizards? Because I think this is a lineup that can score the basketball probably. They should be able to score the basketball. And let's see how we match up against them. Man, looking forward to it. Any last thoughts before we get out of here?
Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, listen, I think, the scenario for this game is probably going to be the same as the first preseason game, meaning the Wizards probably going to start with their starters and, they're going to start the second half with their bench. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Tibbs is going to stick to the starters to get that bigger lead and then just, run with it. And I see Tibbs basically doing this every preseason game except maybe the last one, which we can, maybe throw like the third stringers even in as starters. So I don't see us, going worse in the preseason than 3-1.
Right.
Yeah. Right. We might go undefeated because, Tibbs is playing to win at all costs.
Yeah.
Right.
Tibbs probably looks and says, hey, just add these to the record. We just gonna add this to the record, Any last words, Nate?
Yeah, I'm going to be looking at the defense to see how the defense starts. The last game, it was kind of like slow, and then it picked up in the second half. So I'm going to look for more consistent defense throughout the game. And I think RJ is going to be the lead scorer tonight.
Okay. All right. That'd be good. Steph?
Yeah, I mean, to piggyback off of Andy's point, maybe I'll pay much more attention to that first half, starters against starters, to kind of get a better idea of how we're doing, even though Randle is out. Yeah.
And Josh, some last words.
So with the, Washington not having their center in there, I'm expecting the Knicks to really attack inside and get in the paint and score some points inside. And I'm really, really hoping Obi Toppin scores 20 points tonight. I want to see a 20-point game from Obi. Now that he's going to get the minutes that Randle's not there, I want to see him take that next step so that we all can see how good of an offensive player he can become. And also rebounding. We got to rebound the basketball, continue not to commit turnovers, and I think we'll win tonight.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Looking forward to it, man. And there'll be a post-game show at about 9:15, 9:30, somewhere around there. I think Tony and Steph will be will be on the show, and I'll be calling in from the arena. So we're looking forward to it, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate your time. Be peaceful, spread love, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.
Remember, Sim, wave to the camera.
MBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Nick.